Hi, I'm Andrew Wilson, one of the band directors here with Appoquinimink School District. Today we're going to show you a little bit about how to put a clarinet together, how to get a good sound out of it. So the first thing you want to do when you get your instrument, you want to look for the brand of the instrument, and you want to take that and put it up towards the ceiling with the little latches facing you. Now, ideally you would sit on the floor, you sit your case on the floor the first few times you open it, just so you don't open it incorrectly and the pieces fall out. For right now, I'm going to keep it on my lap, but the label, the brand of the instrument up to the ceiling, and the latches towards you. So we have several parts to a clarinet. First, we have a piece known as the bell. This is where the sound comes out of the bottom. We have the lower joint. What we're going to do, you always want to grab the instrument, put your hand where the least amount of keys are when you're twisting the different pieces together. So, twisting these carefully together, you want to have these three keys line up. If there's a brand name on the bottom of the instrument, line it up with the center of that brand name. If there isn't a brand name, that's okay. Then you just twist it together to make sure these are touching. Our next piece is called the upper joint. Now, when you put this piece on, it's very important that you take your two fingers up here and press these two keys down. What it's going to do, it's going to lift this little lever on the side over here, which is going to go over top of this lever. You want to make sure you push these two down on the top so it lifts that lever up. That way you won't bend any keys. So again, taking where you have the least amount of keys and holding it onto it there. When you have it together, you should have these three holes lined up with these three holes. So far again, this is the bell, the lower joint right here, and the upper joint. After we have those three together, we take the barrel and carefully push down while turning it. That helps it to go on a little bit easier. Then finally we have what we call the mouthpiece. When you put the mouthpiece on, you want to make sure this opening here is right in line with what we call this register key. So again, when you're putting this on, push while twisting. And make sure the opening is lined up with the long register key. All right, so again, we have the bell, lower joint, upper joint, barrel, mouthpiece. Now our last two pieces, we have this little piece of wood and it's called a reed. It's very important that the reed always goes back into the case that it came with. That way it will prevent it from chipping, because once a reed is chipped, it has to go into the trash. It can't be fixed. So you always want to take the thinner end of the reed and slide that in first. You don't have to push it up the whole way. In fact, you don't want to do it because then the reed may get stuck in there. But you do want to push it in so that that top part, the thinner part, is safely secured. That way it won't get broken. Before you put the reed on the instrument, you do need to make sure it goes into your mouth and you wet it to get it moist. Then what you're going to do, you're going to take the flat part of the reed, usually the brand name of the reed will be on the back, this one is Rico, and place it against the flat part on the mouthpiece. When you put it on, you're going to slide it down just a little bit. Let me get this first. Okay, this part is very important. This is called the ligature. This actually holds the reed into place. What I'm doing is I'm unscrewing it a little bit, both of the screws. You don't need to take them completely out. In fact, you shouldn't take them completely out because you don't want to lose the screws. Then, again with the flat piece of the reed, going against the flat piece of the mouthpiece, take the larger opening on the ligature. Most student ligatures, the screws will point to the right, as you can see. You have to wiggle the reed down so there's just a very thin strip of black plastic going across the top. I tell students you only want, maybe about the width of 4 or 5 hairs. It really is just a tiny amount. Then once you have your reed on and you have your ligature lined up ready to go, you can tighten the screws. What you don't want to do not make these two parts of the ligature actually touch by screwing it too tight. Just enough to hold the reed on. Without a reed on a clarinet, the instrument will not work. All right, so now we have everything together. Bell, lower joint, upper joint, barrel, mouthpiece, ligature to hold on, our all-important reed. The left hand always goes on top. Doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed, always goes on top. Your right thumb sits under this thumb rest here. When you go to put the clarinet in your mouth, you want your 3 bottom fingers over these 3 holes, just hovering above the keys. Then you want your top 3 fingers hovering over these 3. The top 2 have keys you can push down. The third one should be where it's just an opening in the clarinet. There's no metal above it. Your left thumb goes over this key in the back. What we're going to do, our very first note is our E. So we're going to take and put our first finger down on front and our thumb down on the back. You want to make sure you're sitting right up at the edge of your chair. Your arms are out comfortably to the side. Then your teeth have to go right on top of the mouthpiece, like that. Your bottom lip, you're going to make just the pink part of it disappear and roll that under slightly, just a little bit. And then you're going to wrap the rest of your mouth around. When you go to start a note, you want to touch your tongue quickly to the back of the reed, right about here. Okay, so making sure sitting up tall, always keeping your chin up, arms out to the side, teeth on top. Wetting the reed a little bit again. So our first 3 notes are going to be E, which is the first finger on the front, the thumb on the back. D, we're going to add that middle finger in the left hand. And then C, we're going to add that bottom finger in the left hand. So here are the notes E, D, and C. You can do a lot with these 3 notes. Mary had a little lamb, hot cross buns. So those are your very first 3 notes you're going to learn in your lessons. Now we're going to go over how to take apart the instrument so that it gets carefully put back into its case. Everything goes where it should be because you want to take very good care of your instruments. First, we're going to take off the reed. So you unscrew, loosen the ligature. Again, the screws should not come the whole way out. You don't want to lose those. And slide off the reed. Again, for the first few times you do this, make sure you're seated on the floor. Take the thinner part of the reed and just push that a little bit into the reed case. That's good. You can set on the side. Next, what's going to come off is the mouthpiece. And I'm going to slide, the ligature back over that. And just so you can see, I'm going to lay it down in the case like this. Next is the barrel. Place that in the case. When you go to take off the upper joint, again, take your right hand, push those 2 keys down, twist and pull up. Set that in the case. The pieces of the instrument fit into the case almost like puzzle pieces, so if it doesn't quite fit, try another spot in your case. Separating the lower joint from the bell. And if you've done it correctly, your instrument case is going to easily close. Make sure you latch up both sides. Put it in a place where you're going to remember where it is so that you can get it out the next day for your next practice session.